Neill, welcome back to Scotland, to Kirkcaldy, and to the home of our beloved football club, Raith Rovers. You're our new manager.
Yep, absolutely delighted to be here. I know it's been a long time for some of the fans, waiting on what's going to be next, but hopefully it'll be worth the wait.
Far from being a kind of name penciled into the margins, there's been an interest in you coming here really from the off. And is it fair to say that for our board of directors that you were the first choice, and it's been a bit of a longer route to get you here than they might have hoped?
Yeah, I think everything happens for a reason. I think people sometimes forget, when you're a football manager, the volatility of it. So it's never as straightforward as sometimes we'd like. So John and Andrew, they've really done everything to try and make this happen. But when you've got not just yourself to think about in your career, but I've got a family, 4 kids, it's a big decision, especially how things kind of ended in my last job. The next thing's really important for so many reasons. So I've always seen what a great job and what opportunity this is. But it may be taking a little bit longer, to get to this point than some people would have liked. But as I said earlier, I think it'll all be worth it in the end.
You said a wee bit about something things are meant to be, and I think there was a little coming together at a coaching session that maybe gave you that sense that there's a wee bit of synergy between yourself and Raith Rovers.
Yeah, I think, as I said, a big part of me being here is obviously the team. I know we've got a great side. I know that there's a lot of great work going on behind the scenes, but John Potter and Andy Barham really made me feel wanted and welcome, and I think that's a big thing. And going to the B licence last week to help assess the candidates, John really gave it a hard sell, and before you know it, on Wednesday night I'm getting a tour around Starks Park, and a big part of that, I've been at Starks Park before as a fan and as a player, but the work that they've done behind the scenes that some people might not recognise was a bit eye-opening in respect to just what they're putting into the club. So yeah, that's one of the reasons we're here today.
There's many selling points to this job, this club, and what makes it attractive. Have you had a chance to have some consideration of the quality of the squad that you're inheriting?
Yeah, I kind of follow Scottish football avidly. Even when I was in the States, listened to Sports Sound regularly on my drive to work, and Scottish football is a bit unique. So last year, watched a few games. The Friday night games were always great, and obviously Raith being an exciting team to watch, we're on there quite regularly. But then over the last couple of weeks, I've certainly paid a little bit more attention and can see there's a lot of quality in the squad. They finished second last year for a reason. They've strengthened. Look, the division's difficult as always. A lot of teams feel that they're going to be there, but we've got a great squad, and it's been an unfortunate start to the season that there's been 2 or 3 key guys missing, but I think you can see from the performance on Saturday against Livingston, even without some key guys from last year, fantastic team performance and lots to be positive about.
You come in to build on success that's gone before. What do you think are the next building blocks for us to move forward in our journey?
Well, it's always a challenge, when you take over a new job for many different reasons, but coming into a team that achieved almost promotion last year says an awful lot. So got a lot to live up to, but equally I think the club's looking long and short term. We know that we've got talent in the building. We know we need to pick up from where we've started this year, but for me it's just about how can we get better. How can we get better? How can we get better every day? How can not just the team get better, individuals get better, and community over a period of time. I think we can get this club back to where it needs to be. But it's going to take an awful lot of hard work from not just myself, the team, but everyone at the club.
You've clearly done your due diligence, and I think the time that it's taken to get the deal over the line maybe has enabled you to do that maybe at a kind of heightened level. You speak about making sure that it's a correct fit for you. You're 100% sold on what you see and full of confidence that you can take us that next step.
Yeah, I've had a chance to speak to a lot of people I trust, people that know Scottish football, and the one thing they immediately said, that's a great job, and straight away what they mean by that. They know that there's people here behind the scenes trying to take it in the right direction. They know it's a good team. You can see the back end that the team got last year. The atmosphere here was great. But the big thing for me was there's real passionate people behind the scenes working really, really hard, and that's kind of something that inspires me and I want to do. So to try and build something, because we are still, I think, in the early stages of building. I think last year was great, almost accelerated, people's expectations. But I think, make no mistake, like where the club's at right now and where we want to take it, there's a lot of steps to come. and I want to be part of that. So that's a big part of why I'm here, working with good people. I can see how passionate people are about the club, but certainly trying to do a lot of the right things.
How did the vacancy catch your attention?
Just because I follow Scottish football. I think, again, as a manager, when a manager loses his job, you know, especially at the time when it happened, you know that it's tough, especially when Ian did a fantastic job. But I think seen straight away that would be a good opportunity, as an opportunity to try and, as I say, achieve something that's not been achieved here in a long time. And then it was John that reached out to ask to speak. And the one thing I've said since I've been in the position of waiting on the next opportunity is I'd speak to anyone, you know, because I think in football, until you speak to people you don't really know, and Andy and John did a great job. But I think, again, ultimately, trying to think of a lot of factors go into making this decision, especially so early in the season. And it just took a little bit, as I say, longer, and it might not have been sitting here had things worked out differently, you know, with other candidates. But again, we are here, and I really believe that it's going to be an exciting time ahead.
You mentioned how precarious that job is for any manager, and you mentioned your own experience at Barnsley. What is it that drives you guys back to that dugout?
Yeah, that is a great question. You know what the Barnsley experience did? There was so many positives for me about that, but also so many things to learn. And a big thing it made me realise is what's important to me. I love working with players. I love working with a team that's really working towards trying to achieve something great. I felt that I was able to do that for 5 years at Tampa and build up relationships that will last, you know, forever. And I just got the sense of similar things here, where the club's at a point where there's so many good people. There's a big goal at the end of it that would mean a lot to people, so I kind of wanted to be part of that. So that's why we come back, because for all the disappointment of maybe how things ended at Barnsley, there was still some great moments. At Tampa, I had 5 years of fantastic memories, a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, toil, but that's what I want. So that's why I'm here, to try and be part of that with a group of players, a group of staff, and then most importantly the fans. That's what we do it for.
Tell us about your background staff, your background team. You'll have met, you'll have shook hands and shared what you want to achieve. How's that shaping up?
Yeah, no, I think it's early. I think got here this afternoon. I know that there's some really good people behind the scenes, as I've said. You know, Robbie and Colin. You know, particularly I'll be working closely with, obviously, John. You know, the sports science. All these people are going to be important. One thing that you realise quite quickly in football management, you can't do it all yourself. So I'm really excited about that, and again, that's a big part of being here, is the people that I'm going to be working with day to day.
You've grew up following Kilmarnock, so you've been up here, you mentioned as a player but also as a fan, so you might have been up here at some point watching Colin breaking Kilmarnock hearts throughout the 90s.
Yeah, it's funny, I've been here many times as a Kilmarnock fan, some good memories, some bad memories. I was just saying there that I've been on the pitch when I was about 9 or 10, last game of the season when Tommy Burns was starting to take Kilmarnock in the right direction, and I'm right in saying I think I've got a good memory that we both got promoted in the same season. Kilmarnock were able to obviously sustain that until very recently. Well, after a couple of good years, Raith, you know, weren't able to manage that, and then I've never managed to get back. So it's amazing how things can go. But played here for Dumbarton a couple of times. I think that year Raith Rovers won the championship, and then I came back here and played pre-season with Sheffield United. So quite fond memories actually of being a fan, being a player here, and again, there's some things that have not changed. There's a lot of tradition at the stadium, but there's a lot of things that are changing for the better, and that's again what's great.
It's the thing about football, it's a kind of goldfish bowl, isn't it? I was actually speaking about that Sheffield game quite recently with Ross Matthews, our captain of last weekend, because I was pointing out that Harry Maguire was part of that
Yep.
kind of match, and he was like, I've got no reference point for that at all. I had to dig out the team line and send him it. But you know, you'll have seen an enormous change, particularly behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's behind the scenes. It's behind the scenes particularly. That's where, again, you know, John, you know, not necessarily persuaded me, but I think he felt that if he could get me here,
Get you in the buildings after the
he
job.
would see that, you know, some things, and they were absolutely spot on. You know, that's the things that are going on behind the scenes that don't everyone see, but they're doing it so that we see it on the pitch. You That's the thing. At the end of the day, they're making all these changes so that it can take the club forward and ultimately take the club forward on the pitch, and that's what I'm here to do. So no, there's some things that haven't changed, but a lot has, and again, there's a lot of history, but big part of being here is to make our own history.
Great, absolutely. The big question that people like me are always pushed to ask at this point is, what's your philosophy? What's your style? What do you expect of one of your teams?
Yep, I think the big thing, to keep it very simple, is I'm going to be totally committed. You're totally committed in terms of everything I'm going to do is about trying to make this team better, this club better. So I'll be asking the same for the players. Totally committed. We need everyone committed on the pitch, off the pitch. So I think one thing, people could level me many things as a player, but the one thing they would always say that we're 100% committed, and I think anyone that's worked with me as a manager will say the same. In terms of playing styles, I'm a bit wary to mention too much because I always feel it's open to interpretation what you see. I think my teams have scored a lot of goals. Over the last few years we've been top goal scorers in the leagues, we've created loads of chances, been aggressive against the ball. Want to see all these things, but equally we've got to try and win games of football. I've got to assess what we've got, and until you're in the building, that's when you get a real sense. I know we've got good players, but I'm more about the broader principles than going through what formation we'll play yet. I think the most important thing is we give the fans a team that they can be proud of, and Saturday was probably quite a good indication of that. I thought we've seen a lot of great aspects that we want to build on and see, and I think the fact that the fans clapped them off tells you that you play like that more often than not, you should win, but equally the fans can put up that performance.
Are your hands in the pocket, save it for the dressing room manager, or do I need to bring in some throat lozenges for post-match?
Well, that depends on the players, doesn't it? How well they play. I think it's about a balance all the time. I think anyone that's worked with me will know I'll put the highest demands on people. But equally, I think I know at the time, I've been a player myself, when it's an arm round, when we need to support, and listen, I'm a passionate person. I'm here to try and be successful and win, but I know there's more than one way to do that, and try and get the best out of players that we've got and anyone that comes in.
Do you lean on a set of mentors yourself, or have you got a kind of core round about you, because the highs and lows are way more extreme when you're carrying the manager's task? Yeah,
definitely. 4 or 5 different people that come to mind, not all necessarily like football managers. My dad's one of the first people that I speak to, football man, but also he only cares necessarily about one person, and that's me, so that always helps. Mick McCarthy, who I played for, one of the best managers that I had the opportunity to play for, he's always at the end of a phone if I ever need, so he's been in my shoes. That's always a good step. And then there's a couple of real close friends back in America that maybe more president, CEO type people that just give a different perspective. So that's so important. And again, I think when we're right in the midst of it, it's always nice to speak to people that can maybe take a different perspective, and especially people that know me. So I'm sure I'll be picking up the phone to them from time to time.
It's a really dynamic set of fixtures that are on the horizon. We've got a trip down to Ayrshire on Sunday. We follow that up with a local derby, and then Falkirk, who are setting a trail towards the top of the league just now. It's mouthwater and hand-wringing stuff, isn't it? That's
right. That's why I forced it, made sure Andy got it done this week. Start. I think the league leaders, or certainly have set a good pace to start. And followed up by the derby, and then. Again, another team that are doing well. Listen, I feel as if this year in this league, every game's going to have something around it. Every game's going to mean something. Again, I follow Scottish football, so prior to this job even coming up, I knew that this league was going to be dog eat dog this year. Everyone sees an opportunity. The old adage, we'll need to take it a day at a time right now. Day at a time, get on the training pitch, get working. We know we've got a good group of players. Certain things that we need to build on, certain things that we'll maybe want to change and adapt, but good place to start in the Cup on Sunday.
Great. I mean, Raith Rovers supporters have waited with some patience, a degree of trepidation as well in terms of who's going to be sitting in the hot seat. What more can you tell them about Neill Collins, the man, the coach, and now our leader?
Again, it's hard being a football fan, isn't it, sometimes, when I think the club have tried to be as transparent as possible, but when you're sitting at home and the club's that important to you, you just want to know what's happening. As I say, they've worked tirelessly to make this happen, and that's why I'm here. because of the people behind the scenes, but also because I've seen, how passionate this group of fans are, how much they've been getting behind. Crowds have been rising. In terms of myself, I think I hope everyone's excited as I am. I think we're all going to have to do it together in terms of where we want to be, and that's making this place a fortress as well, and the fans are going to play a big part in that. And I look forward to kind of getting to know. That's the good thing about being a part of the community. You get to know some of the fans, you get to know people, and that's a big part of being here as well. I think you can feel a big part of it. And as I say, there's a lot of die-hard Raith fans. I've met a couple already, been to 1,000 games almost. That's great, because I can always learn from these people as well, what it means to them, what it's about. Fife Derby being a great example. I'm sure I'll hear a few stories between now and next week about that game, which I look forward to.
I think in the coming days, weeks and months ahead, we'll get to hear more of your story. We'll get to spend a bit of time and hear more about your footballing journey. But for now, on behalf of all Raith Rovers supporters, I always feel a sense of pride when I get to say welcome to our club, and can we wish you every success for the future.
Absolutely, and thanks for having me.
Brilliant.